see a white man become a Brahmin.
We moved to India with my whole family when I was 10 years old because my parents wanted me to become more of a devotee.
I'm curious about your bodybuilding journey. Listen, I grew up in India, so all the Brahmins or the priests that we see, physically when you see them, they have a very different physique. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm a natural bodybuilder. I never use steroids. I'm also pure vegetarian. The day started really early. We woke up at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.?
Yeah, 2 a.m. So there's different types of Brahmins as well.
Okay.
Like Dronacharya is also considered a Brahmin. He is one of the main characters of the Mahabharata. And he was a Brahmin, but he was teaching how to shoot a bow, how to use the astras. My parents were convinced that I wasn't going to survive in the Gurukul because I was born in Israel. I was pretty spoiled. That schedule they thought in their head it didn't fit.
This man is a bodybuilder born in Israel but has chosen the path of a Brahmin, now living in India. Namaskar, Shalom and welcome. My name is Ravital Moses aka Moses in Israel, your favorite Indian Jew, born and raised in India and now living in Israel. And my goal is to bridge India and Israel one video at a time. And today we have somebody who moved to India at the age of 10 and went to a traditional Vedic Gurukul and now has gained popularity for being called the Brahmin Bodybuilder, the one and only Tamal Krishna Kripa. Welcome to Moses in Israel. Wait, did I say your name right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Welcome to Moses in Israel and welcome back in Israel. Remember, you told me the last time you visited Israel was in 2023 when the war had begun. How are you feeling coming back to your birthland?
I'm very happy to be back, excited to be in Israel once again. I've been missing Israel and I'm happy to be back.
Wait, tell us more. I mean, I've never seen a Russian man who's now become a Brahmin. Like, it's very new for me. And I believe for a lot of Indians to see a white man become a Brahmin. So I have so many questions for you. You mentioned that you moved to India at the age of 10. You're 26 right now.
Yes.
Can you walk us through why you moved to India? And I remember off camera you told me India is home. And I mean, you visit Israel, but you would never come back and live here. Tell us more.
So yeah, we moved to India with my whole family when I was 10 years old because my parents wanted me to become more of a devotee or learn more Vedic culture or Sanatan Dharma. And their idea was to put me in a Vedic traditional Gurukul where they teach a boy, it was only for boys, where they teach boys to become men in the Vedic way. So that's why they took me and my sister and my grandmother all to India.
Wait, so I'm going to take a step back. So your parents were already devotees when they were in Israel?
Yeah, they joined. So they joined in the early 90s in Israel. There was already ISKCON in Israel from the late 70s. And then they joined. And then once they got married, they became devotees. Then I was born in Israel and they were still preaching and doing all those things here, practicing Sanatan Dharma, but in Israel. And then when I grew up, when I became 10 years old, then they said, okay, now we want him to take on the next step. And because of me, we all moved.
And
to
now you're
Mayapur. Yeah.
So you're in Mayapur, which is in West Bengal.
Yeah, West Bengal, India.
Just for our audiences, because I know you told me, because everybody's like, why Mayapur out of all the places in India?
So because we're connected to ISKCON, we're members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That's what ISKCON stands for. The headquarters or the place where the movement actually started 540 years ago is Mayapur. That's the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya.
Can you give us 3 fun facts about being a Brahmin or Brahmin life in general? Because as somebody who grew up in India, but I'm also Jewish, so I feel like I know the culture, but I don't completely understand it. Can you tell us what stereotypes people think of you or just fun facts about your life as a Brahmin?
Sure. Yeah. Brahman life is quite interesting, actually. Many people think it's very boring, that you wake up very early in the morning, you go to sleep very early, you have no social life, you're just a priest in the temple. It's not at all like that. It's a stereotype, like you said. But being a Brahman means essentially thinking of Brahman or one who is trying to realize Brahman. And that can be done in many different ways. Of course, there is the aspect of sadhana, or performing your duties, or waking up early in the morning, worshiping the Lord, doing all those things. That's something that every Brahman does. But a Brahman can be a bodybuilder, a Brahman can be a cook, a Brahman can be an influencer as well. Why not? If you're practicing Brahminical culture, if you're living a lifestyle of a Brahman, maybe you're not born like that, but you're practicing it, you're considered a Brahman.
I had no idea about that. So thank you for, sort of shedding light on that. I'm curious about your bodybuilding journey. Listen, I grew up in India, so all the Brahmins or the priests that we see, physically when you see them, they have a very different physique. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Saw some posts on Instagram and I saw you posing at a competition.
Yeah, so it's not exactly a dual life. It may seem like it's dual because most Brahmins are not bodybuilders, that's for sure. But my parents are both. They moved to Israel, and from the age of 15, they both started going to the gym, and they still exercise. They're in their mid 50s, and they still exercise every day. So 30 odd years of exercise, and because I saw them working out and they like doing weights. They like my father was doing bodybuilding, so I got inspired from him. And from the age of 18, 1 hour a day, 5, 6 days a week, I was doing that on top of studying the Vedas, performing yagyas or havan and all those things. And it's just a passion that I've had, and I still exercise 6 days a week. And I liked competing. I wanted to try it out, and that's why I did it. I went to Calcutta and competed in a professional bodybuilding show.
Wait, tell us the results because I don't know what the results were.
I got 5th place. And
Oh, congratulations.
thank you.
Wait, are you planning to compete more?
I'm not sure. I did a few competitions, but I'm a natural bodybuilder. I never use steroids. I'm also pure vegetarian. So it's a very, very difficult, I guess, niche in bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Maybe I'll compete.
Maybe you'll compete. I'm also like, I would love to talk about your diet and building muscle on a vegetarian diet, but we'll get to that later. I want to know because you studied in a traditional Vedic Gurukul. Like, what did your day look like growing up? Can you walk us through a day in a life of a Brahmin? I won't say bodybuilder, but like a Brahmin student. No, student learning how to be a Brahmin.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the day started really early. We woke up at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m. We'll get to when we went to sleep. That's the last part. But
Okay.
we woke up every day at 2 a.m. We lived in a place in Mayapur which is made without electricity. There's no electricity and there's no running water. There's no taps.
Okay.
We used hand pumps that are still there in rural parts of India. I think you can still see them. And so we would wake up. We had a little mat that we slept on under a grass hut. And then you roll up your mat. You go take a shower under the pump. You get ready that way. We all had a locker with our clothes. All we had was a dhoti and a chadar, 2 sets. So you can
Okay.
wash one and wear one. And then we would come back to the temple hut, the main hut, to meditate, chant till about 4 a.m. Then 4 a.m. we go to the temple for a Mangalarati
Okay.
to see the Lord. Come back.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna
Yeah,
just.
sure.
I'm curious as somebody who grew up in the culture but doesn't really completely understand it. What is a Mangalarti?
Mangalarti is when the Lord wakes up. At some places 4:30, some places 5 a.m. in different temples. Between that time is the first darshan, or the first time that they open the temple, and that's considered very auspicious.
I see. So that's
That's
around
the
4
Mangalarti.
o'clock.
Yeah, from 4 to 5.
4 to 5.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so we did that. Then we would come back to the school. This was maybe half a kilometer away, the temple, from the Gurukul. So we would walk there, then come back. Then we had an assembly with the whole school where our teachers read something from the Shastras or from the Vedas to inspire us for the day, gave us some instruction, a school assembly. And then we all split into different groups. Each group had a group leader, and then we would clean, do service around the school. We would prepare things, we would clean the goshala, we would clean the office place and, the whole school. Then we had Sanskrit class. That was the first class. Then we had the philosophy class, Vedic philosophy. Each class was around an hour. And then at around 8, we all went to the kitchen because we had no maids. We were all doing everything ourselves, just 60 boys and the Gurukul with the teachers. So we prepared our breakfast. Then at 9, we had our breakfast, which was usually fruits, some milk, some puffed rice, some, chira or poha, how it's also called.
Yeah.
That also we used to eat sometimes. And then from 10 to 11, we had math class. 11 to 12 English class, and then 12 to 1 we had noon service. So we had morning service
Right.
before the classes, then we had noon service.
Okay.
Where we would split into different groups again.
Okay.
And then again clean different parts of the school. Some would go and cook. Some of the boys would go and learn how to cook. They would prepare the lunch. Some would take care of the cows. Some would wash their clothes at that time, and etc. Then 1 o'clock, around 1:30 we would eat lunch.
Okay.
Then there was a bit of free time
Right.
till 3. Then from 3 to 4 we had martial arts. We had one teacher who went to Australia actually to learn Chinese Kung Fu.
So you went to Australia to learn Chinese
yeah.
Kung Fu.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay.
But yeah, so he taught us for an hour.
Okay.
It was, I think, Prime Mantis style Chinese Kung Fu.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there a reason why? Because Brahmins often, the way it's looked at, Brahmins are more spiritual. It's more like intellectual. Why do you need to learn martial arts?
It's a good question. So there's different types of Brahmins as well.
Okay.
Like Dronacharya is also considered a Brahmin. He is one of the main characters of the Mahabharata. And he was a Brahmin, but he was teaching how to shoot a bow, how to use the astras or different
bow and arrow?
Yeah, different weapons, different spiritual weapons. And so he had to learn those things. But also, just to put some context, not every person in the Gurukul, not every person by nature is a Brahman. There is Kshatriyas, those who are warriors, those who are leaders, managers. They're also studying in the Gurukul. Vaishyas, those who are businessmen, those who take care of cows, and etc. So it was for everybody to learn. If you didn't want to, if you didn't have that nature in you, that you were very peaceful and you didn't want to learn any martial arts, you didn't have to. You could do yoga, you could do other things.
Oh, so it was not mandatory.
It wasn't mandatory. Most of us, 99% of the boys, wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was there, but there was a few that chose not to and they did yoga instead.
Got it. But what about subjects like English, mathematics?
No, that was mandatory.
That was mandatory.
Yeah.
So
Sanskrit,
these were like,
mantras, the only, not mandatory was this type of martial arts.
Got it. So you chose to learn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then from after that class, we would go and take a shower back at the pumps.
Okay.
And then,
so you would walk like half a kilometer?
No. So
No, this is
the school is a pretty big campus. We had a big, I think you can see there's many videos and pictures of that campus. It's called Bhaktivedanta Academy.
Okay.
On YouTube, on Instagram, you can see it's a huge campus, maybe a couple acres of land. And all these places, the kitchen was on one side, the temple hut was one side, pumps were on one side. And we would just go around the school there. And then after taking a shower, we would come back and then we would learn different groups of boys by different ages would learn history, philosophy, geography. And then those who were the eldest, they had the second philosophy class to the morning one to get in more philosophy in the day. And then the last class that we had all together was mantra class. We learned Vedic mantras, where the teacher sat, he recited a mantra. We didn't get a book, we didn't get anything, and we repeated that mantra twice. And that way, we remember all the mantras by memory.
This was around like what time?
5 to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And then at 6, all the kids that were younger, they would go home.
Okay.
Day schoolers.
Okay.
And then the boys who were older, they would stay. We had an altar also of deities. We would worship the deities, so we'd put deities to sleep. And then by 7:30 p.m., we were already crashed out.
Oh my gosh. So, wow. So you get up at 2, finish your day by 7.
Yeah.
This, as somebody who does not live this life, I feel like there would be times that would be really mentally and physically tough for you. Did you have any days, like how did you get through them? Because, leading this kind of life needs consistency and discipline. Did you tell your parents, like, I don't want to learn this? Or I don't want to do it? Because you were just 10 when you came to India. You probably did not have that autonomy. But as you grew older, did you feel like this is the path you wanted to choose? Or like, tell us more, give me more insight.
Sure, gladly. Actually, it was the opposite. My parents were convinced that I wasn't going to survive in the Gurukul because I was born in Israel. I was pretty spoiled. That schedule they thought in their head it didn't fit young boy from Israel.
Yeah.
And so they put me in the Gurukul, and every day or every few days they would call the teacher asking, is he okay? Is he okay? Should we take him back? And for me, it was the opposite. completely fell in love with the place, with the schedule, with my friends. And because we were all doing it together, it's not that you were alone doing it in your own little room. We all slept together, we ate together, we showered together, we did everything together with our friends.
Okay.
So that way it didn't feel like a chore. Everything felt like it was a game. We're all playing it all together and learning all together. So that way, time flew by and days flew by and years flew by, and it was an amazing experience.
Are you still in touch with your friends?
Yeah.
Do you guys still work together, or some have left the journey?
We're all practicing. We're all practicing devotion. We're all doing our things, but it was an international Gurukul. So there's people from Australia, Africa, America, Europe, all countries, Russia, Ukraine, everywhere.
I was going to say, you're in India, and you sort of, I want to say you don't fit in, but you don't look like the Indians. So growing up, did you have any very specific experiences where people were like intrigued by how you look or what the color of your skin was? I'm just curious to know.
Yeah. In Gurukul, we didn't because it was international. But when we would travel with the school or alone, people were mesmerized and shocked, going in a local train somewhere in West Bengal, and then, someone asks you something and then you reply in Bengali. They're shocked. Or in Hindi, they're like, wow, how is this possible? The white guy, how does he know the language? And then once they get to know, they understand. But yeah, a lot of people.
Two Indian languages?
Yeah, Hindi and Bengali.
Wow. We should have had this conversation in Hindi.
I'm not that good.
But I'm assuming that because you've spent almost 2 decades now.
Yeah,
right?
17 years.
17 years. Your Hindi is definitely better than my Hebrew. I've been here 6 years. So, but maybe episode 2. But we are also our audiences are international also. Before we move on, let me share a quick insight. All of you have been watching this channel, but 80% of you have not subscribed to this channel. Only with your support, I'm able to grow, invite better guests, and create an impact in the India-Israel space. So please go ahead, click that subscribe button and help this channel grow. You can also support this channel on Ko-fi. With great content comes great responsibility and great expense. So every little bit helps. And now, back to the show. But I'm curious, let's get back to religion for a second. You follow Sanatan Dharma, but you grew up in a country where majorly it's Judaism. Also, we have other Abrahamic religions, but specifically Judaism. What are some similarities that you see in Sanatan Dharma and Judaism that people should know about?
Probably the main, there's quite a few, actually. The fact that it's very family oriented. Everybody in India, if you go to India and you live in India, you understand how the family culture, the family bonds are so strong. The same thing in Israel. Everybody here, family, mishpacha, it's everything for you. So that's very similar, and that's what I gelled with as well. That was very nice. And also in terms of philosophy, Abrahamic religions, and especially Judaism, they believe that there is one God. If you study the Vedas properly and you get the right understanding of Sanatan Dharma, there's only one God. He takes different forms, he has different avatars, but originally it's only one. So that's also one similarity. And then rituals, traditions, they're all actually quite similar.
Can you give us an example?
Just the fact that, Beit Knesset is a place where people go every once a week, or those who study it, they go every day.
Yeah, Beit Knesset for our audience is a synagogue where Jews pray. Just FYI.
Thank you. Yeah, and the same thing with people who practice Sanatan Dharma. They have a temple. They have a temple where they go every single day. They perform their prayer. It's very, very similar in that sense. They have the rabbis or the teachers. The same thing here. In Sanatan Dharma, there is the priests, the Brahmins, the guru or the teacher of the family, the teacher that gives you initiation, that gives you that knowledge about Sanatan Dharma, the same as in Judaism. The rabbi teaches the students, and then the student becomes the teacher again. So very, very similar if you actually look at the root.
I'm curious to know, we spoke about this before, but now is the time to ask you that question, is how are you able to build this body on a vegetarian diet? Because, usually people eat eggs and chicken and everything is protein heavy. How are you able to do it?
I think I started pretty early, so that's very important. Okay. The later in your life, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, that you try to build muscle, it's very difficult with I guess, with any diet, but specifically vegetarian.
Yeah.
But I started when I was 18, and eating
Okay.
enough protein, having a good digestive system, but eating enough protein in a vegetarian diet is not that hard. There is tofu, there is paneer, there is vegetables, there is lentils like dal and different types of dal, rajma, beans, and so many things that you can eat. And that's what I eat. I think the main thing is being consistent, not taking any junk food or drinking lots of soda that has sugar and all those things that are processed. That's the issue. I don't think it's the issue with vegetarian. It's the issue with lots of processed food. And then the meat just makes up the protein that you eat from the processed food. So yeah, I eat only twice a day.
I was going to ask. I thought you would eat twice a day.
Yeah, vegetarian meals. I do supplement with protein powder,
Okay.
vegetarian or vegan protein powder. That's for like building lots of muscle. It's practically impossible without supplementing with protein powder. And that way you're able to get enough protein every day.
Actually, I have a personal experience of mine. I am now lactose intolerant, so I can't have any dairy. It's funny, like I grew up on dairy in India, but the dairy in Israel is so processed that my body is not able to digest. So I had to completely cut out dairy, but it was really good for me because my body became a little more toned. And I also lost craving for sugar and soda. That completely changed my life. I was able to sleep well. I had less fatigue and I was feeling more energetic.
Yeah.
I remember 2 days ago you posted a video, what I eat in a day. What does your typical breakfast look like?
It's pretty simple. It's quite the same, I guess, everywhere I go. Just the fruits change. I eat fruits for breakfast, and then if I'm feeling hungry or I'm gonna have a late lunch, I have a protein yogurt or protein with some type of milk or yogurt or something like that. But
Okay.
fruits for breakfast, maybe a toast with
Yeah.
avocado here because that's
Avocado.
available.
For sure.
That's very nice. Coming back to Israel.
But for somebody who does not like any fruits or vegetables, because a lot of people don't, I personally struggled because I love sandwiches. You know how food in India is dosa and idli and poha. When you grow up with that, and then completely switching to salads like fresh produce in Israel, like is really good for fruits and vegetables.
Right.
But do you have any advice for people who don't like fruits and vegetables?
Okay, try to stick to then go to dairy if you can eat yogurt with protein powder or something more protein based. The issue with I love Indian food, but the issue with Indian food is most of it's fried. Samosa is deep fried, kachori is deep fried, vada pav, like dosa, all those things are so full of oil.
Yeah.
And eating that the first thing in the morning, it's very heavy for your liver, for your kidneys, for your stomach. That's very hard. And I wouldn't recommend it as the first meal. And it doesn't have much protein, but it's also very heavy. So move to something, at least don't fry it. If you're going to eat it, don't fry it. Eat some vegetables, eat some dairy, try to get some protein. Yeah, that's what I would recommend for breakfast. And then lunch you can do. Lunch, a normal Indian thali or South Indian, North Indian. Just try to get more protein, more beans, more lentils, more paneer or tofu, something like that, and less deep fried once again. I think if you cut out deep fried and soda, you will look different.
Oh, yeah. You see my pictures from 5 years ago. You will definitely see the difference. Wait, so you only eat breakfast and lunch, no dinner?
Yeah. I sleep very nice. I sleep very nicely when I don't eat 3, 4, 5 hours before I go to sleep.
Got it. And you're usually sleeping by like 7, 8. Even now?
9.
9 is still super early. I feel like for regular people, 9, like I'm usually in bed by 11. I think 11 is good, but I feel, I can see your face. It's like, oh my God, it's too late. But I respect your lifestyle. I think it needs a lot of consistency and discipline. But kol hakavod. I really hope to take some inspiration and bring more discipline because I'm all over the place right now. But let's come to some rituals. I'm curious to know what yagya is. You said yagya and havan is basically the same thing, just two different names for the same ritual. For people who don't understand what it is, can you please explain?
Sure. It's a ritual where we pray all together, the people that are participating in the havan or yagya, where we light a fire. There is usually a priest that leads the ritual. So he decorates the place where the fire is going to be lit. Then he lights the fire. He chants different mantras or different chants, usually in Sanskrit, Some chant in different names, but mostly it's chanted in Sanskrit.
Hmm.
And that way, we're praying, we're inviting the Lord to come and be present in the fire, because it's one of the elements, one of the primary elements, where we invite the Lord and then he takes our offerings. We offer different ingredients like ghee, which is clarified butter that is made from cow milk originally. We offer different grains into the fire. And the most important is the chants, the mantras that are chanted. They please the Lord. He likes to hear those mantras, and they have a very deep meaning.
Why specifically ghee? Like, does it have a spiritual element? I know, like grains, you said, even milk for some reason. Is honey also a part? No, because I know honey is very special in the Jewish tradition. So, is there a reason why ghee is offered?
Yeah, ghee is considered the liquid gold of Sanatan Dharma. It comes from the cow. So all the ingredients that come from the cow is considered the most holy animal, because Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu likes the cow. So then all the ingredients and all the elements that come from the cow, except for the flesh, of course, are considered holy. And then so ghee is traditionally the Brahman or the priest, he had a cow, and then he would take milk from the cow, and then he would drink that milk to develop, it says, fine brain tissues, to become very intelligent. Then he would make curd, and then from that curd he would make ghee, and that ghee, because it burns, it has the shakti or the tejas to be offered to the Lord. It burns in the fire in a specific way. And then also in Ayurveda, if you again go back to the Vedas, why ghee, it's a medicine, that it's the only oil that the body actually can take and is medicinal.
I see a lot of Western doctors are now recommending ghee in the diet, because especially like in America, the food is so processed that people are like getting obese and having
Right.
diabetes and other problems. So a lot of the Western doctors are now recommending ghee. Very fascinating. I'm trying to draw similarities between the traditions and rituals of Judaism and Sanatan Dharma. I know when you go to the synagogue, you can only pray when you have 10 Jewish men. It's called minyan, right? So is it similar when you're doing a yagya? Do you need a certain amount of Brahmins or men to be present to be able to start the ritual?
It's not that strict in the performance of yagya, but in the Vedas, it says that there should be 4 qualified priests. Each one should know a different Veda. There is originally 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. And then if you have 4 qualified priests or brahmanas who each know a different Veda, then that yagya is considered a very powerful yagya. Then you can do it by yourself because of the lack of qualified priests. But yeah, it's also there.
It's also there. And how long do yagyas take place usually? For how long?
There's different yagyas, but the yagyas that we do these days, maybe an hour, 1.5 hours, not very long. But originally, traditionally, if you read some stories from the Vedas, there were yagyas that went on for thousands of years, non-stop. There was so many brahmanas that were pouring ghee into the fire. The fire was huge, and there's yagyas that went on for 100 years, for 1 year, for 6 months, 1 month. But it's difficult to do that now, so just an hour.
Because you have to keep up with time.
Yeah.
People don't have the time, so everything has become instant.
Yeah.
Also, yagyas. That's actually very fascinating. Very recently, I saw on your Instagram page that you started this. I only noticed it now. You started a project called Mantra Sadhana. What is that, and what is your vision? Like, where do you want to take it?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I started almost a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago. This idea came. We were doing yagyas before, but we wanted to focus on spreading or doing outreach of Sanatan Dharma. And our idea, starting the page, was to call it Mantra Sadhana. Mantra is mantra. I think it's a very popular word, but mana traya iti mantra, which means that something that frees the mind. It's something that you chant that helps you free the mind. So that's the meaning of the word mantra. And sadhana, if you break that word or translate it from Sanskrit, means something that you do every day. So our goal is to inspire people to start understanding or learning about Sanatan Dharma and start practicing it daily. That is our vision, to spread the knowledge of Sanatan Dharma, the eternal religion of the soul, and to get people to start practicing it daily. That's why we called it Mantra Sadhana.
I already see like one way of doing it is on social media.
Yeah.
What are the other traditional ways that you're able to bring in more people? Or let's just say if somebody's interested, if they feel like a longing to practice, like how do you reach out to them or do they reach out to you? Like how does it work?
Yeah, so they see the videos that we make.
Right.
And in many videos, actually, in most of the videos, I would say, we are saying different mantras. We're chanting different mantras where we say the meaning of the mantra. And you can just see the video and then start chanting that mantra every single day. And it's as simple as that. Some people reach out and then they ask for different situations. You can chant different types of mantras. If you're feeling down or emotionally down, or if you want to grow your business, or if you want to get some blessings of a specific deity or specific issue that you're facing, there's different mantras for that. And then chanting those mantras on a daily basis is the goal.
Tamal Krishna Kripa Das, are you ready for your rapid fire?
I hope so.
All right, let's do it. What's your gym playlist? Is it a kirtan or regular music?
Kirtan.
One Jewish tradition you secretly miss?
Hanukkah, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a very nice festival. One Indian habit that you've fully adopted?
Indian food. Eating Indian food or eating street Indian street food.
And you don't fall sick?
No.
Shame on me, because I fall sick these days. One Israeli habit you have never dropped?
Keeping close to family, keeping those family ties.
All right. One stereotype people assume about you as a Brahmin?
It's not possible to be Brahman and a bodybuilder at the same time.
That's what I also thought, but okay. Most surprising question a fan of Tamal has asked you.
To find them a wife from Israel to get married to.
I also get a lot of those questions in my comment section. Guys, stop. I know you're on diet, but do you have cheat meals? And if you do, what is it?
I do have some cheat meals sometimes. I really like waffles with ice cream.
Okay. That's allowed. I mean, for all the work you've put in, I think you're allowed.
Thank you.
One last question. One Sanskrit word everyone should know.
Om.
Perfect. All right. We are towards the end of this episode, and I always end my episodes with one message to the audiences. Most of our audiences are in India or Indians living in the diaspora. And of course, we also have an international audience. So would you like to give them a message?
Surely would gladly give you a message. If you want to pursue any religion or if you want to start following Sanatan Dharma, don't get overwhelmed with it. Just start step by step. And if you continue, if you're consistent and determined, you will surely achieve all your dreams and much, much more.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. By the way, guys, Tamal is visiting for almost a month now?
Yeah.
No, he's here for 10 days. No, I'm so confused. He's been here for 10 days, but visiting for a month.
Right.
But he has a very busy schedule, but he made sure that he made time for me. So Tamal, thank you so much for making the time for me and our audiences. I feel like we'll have to do a follow-up episode because I have so many more questions to ask you, but I think this is a great beginning. If you want to ask questions to Tamal, I'm going to add his Instagram link to the descriptions, or you can also add your questions to the comments and we both can answer those questions for you. But Tamal, Mamash, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I'm hoping to meet you again. And I completely forgot to mention, my mom is a big fan of you already. And I'm sure most people watching you right now are also. And for my audiences, in the meantime, stay safe, watch the right content, and I'll see you next time.